So the USS Enterprise has finally been unveiled, our very first Star Trek set. I'm still recovering from a cold, but we're going to rewind in time and we're going to take a look at the designer interview for the Enterprise, and we're going to see what the designers were thinking, both the graphic designer who worked on the figures and the prints, as well as the main lead designer, Hans, who so happened to design some of my favorite Ultimate Collector Series sets like the Falcon, like the Venator, like the Gunship. He's got a lot of thoughts on this set. I have a lot of thoughts on just how the Enterprise looks. I'm very curious how fans are going to feel about this one, but I'm going to save all that for my review. Now, while I wasn't personally in attendance, I was getting ready for my wedding as well as moving into this new studio, I did send my boy Lee to go over and film this amazing interview. On top of that, Chris from Brickset is the one who takes the lead here, asking all the questions. He's definitely a Trekkie, and it will definitely, hopefully, answer a lot of your questions that you have about the Enterprise. I certainly have a lot of thoughts and opinions on this one, but again, I'll save that for the review. For now, enjoy the designer interview.
I think where's a good place to handle it? Here's a nice spot just here. I'll watch Hans's face to see how scared he gets. Or if I was doing a real Solid Brick Studios review, I guess I'd pick it up from somewhere like here, maybe. Or here. I think the place to start is how did Star Trek come about as a Lego theme?
Yeah,
or Lego icons.
That's a big mystery. I was the first. I would have said this is never going to happen. Never. It's a bit of a shame because I thought it should. But to me, I grew up with Star Wars. That was a big cinema thing, and Star Trek, which was on TV originally. So I thought, why not do both, right? But I don't know if you have any contracts or not. There were persistent rumors for years. I don't know if they are true. I don't think they are. But it's just a matter of, if you have one big space line, why would you want to cannibalize yourself by having another? But now we're in a different situation because this is not a full portfolio with small sets, bigger sets. We have this one product and hopefully more, right? But for now it's just this one under the Icons umbrella, filling one of our product slots, like a lot of the rings or some of the other properties we have.
Yep. No, well, I wrote a speculative article about Lego Star Trek about this time last year when...
I think I read that, yes.
Yes, another company decided it.
I had such a great reading all this speculation already.
Yes, we won't get too far into the other company. But my assumptions, shall we say, about if Lego Star Trek were to happen, or even just one set, would be that perhaps you would begin with the original series. Seems logical. So what made you begin with the next generation?
I think that was on the table, but I think we wanted to start with something that's a little closer to our current times.
I think just to deep dive on that question too is that we're not in charge of what is getting selected in the general Lego portfolio. In my personal opinion, I think that this one really resonates with my age group, millennials, and it's kind of like a commemoration of. We had the original series in the 60s, and then this one came in the 80s. So it's like the next generation, literally. So I think that this really kind of like is an iconic first start into voyaging into the unknown.
Another element of my speculation at the time was that perhaps you would cruelly keep the minifigures for a separate set. Like maybe a bridge diorama or something like that. But it's very nice to have them included here. So was that the plan from the start, that we'd have a good amount of the crew included?
Yeah, I mean, it's an icon set, and we do release sets completely bare of minifigures. Endurance comes to mind, or NASA Space Launch System, just to name two sets I worked on before. So it would make sense to do the Enterprise, and this is what you get here, right? But then again, for Star Trek, it's not just about spaceships. Say the characters are at least...
The stories,
at least as
lore.
important as the rest. It's the stories and all, so we needed the characters.
Yeah,
I think it's
a package.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a really important part of the package because, again, this is the first time we do it. We don't know what the future lies if we're going to do it again. So why not bring the whole shebang with characters that people love and grew up with? So the ship is iconic itself, but each character is also iconic. So we wanted to bring that into the overall set.
I will say I still think it'd be a nice idea to have the bridge as like a nice size for a diorama, and if you need an exclusive minifigure to pop in, Barkley. There he goes.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there were a lot of extra characters on our wish list.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
another point.
He's the one who seems like he'd be an A-fault.
Yeah. If you're gonna have
He
Barkley.
would totally be,
Yeah. Like I said in the presentation, we could, if it was for me and Hans, we would put 30 characters in this. And what we started was kind of with a proposal of what characters we thought were iconic, and then we just worked with Paramount, with our creative leads, with all the stakeholders to see who do we think is important to put in there. And we think we got a pretty good solid lineup here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's essentially the main bridge crew and, well...
Guinan and Westby.
Yeah. No, I think, honestly, I mean, don't let anyone hear this, but I think it's quite generous, the minifigure selection. I could easily imagine this set, if it had any minifigures at all, with just having, 5 or the absolute core cast. But yeah, it's nice to have those
but
extras in.
we know people love minifigures.
Oh, yes.
In this case, I mean, we don't have to say. If we want to do the bridge later on, there are other options. We could pick them with different uniforms and still do it.
War belts on everywhere.
I mean, here we went for the iconic looks. Not to steal one of your lines. For example, you will notice we gave Worf this silver bandola, and not this golden thing he was wearing in the pilot movie, the pilot episode, which got quickly replaced by the more metallic, cooler bandola.
No, I think it's worth.
And I also wanted to put in first trombone. I think it's safe to say first minifigure trombone.
Yeah.
You may have seen a second trombone today.
But it's coming out afterwards, so yeah.
Exactly.
Also, Hans is a big. He plays the
I
trombone.
Oh, okay.
And so I was saying that before the minifigure lineup was even set, he brought a trombone. We have a trombone.
Yes,
like,
also
but we don't
surprised
even know.
we have all the pieces in gold.
Yeah.
Except the bell, that was in spray gold.
But it's nice that you can. It also gives you an opportunity to include sort of references to specific moments and episodes and things, whereas obviously in a ship of this sort of scale doesn't have an interior and things. It would otherwise just be a display model, and so
Yeah, we didn't want to make it too nerdy. So,
I think we did.
but
Yeah, I totally wanted to do it really nerdy. Yeah.
I mean, you recognize the phaser or Geordie's engineering case. Of course, Picard, every episode he drinks his Earl Grey hot. Obviously, Baraka, every now and then he practices the trombone. What else do we have? Yeah.
We have 2 new elements. We have Worf and Guinan's wig. And then Beverly Crusher's wig is a recolor, and so is Deanna Troi. And then we have some new printed decorations.
One thing I'm wondering is, how did you decide which elements on the ship itself to decorate as opposed to using stickers for certain details?
The whole ship is covered with windows, even here on the underside. That wasn't possible at all, so we had to really pick and choose where do windows make the most effect. We thought it was here on the edge. It also has the added benefit that we can show it 10 forward. The bar where the gun works.
We also added it in the nameplate here and the deflector dish, but with every Lego model we have to kind of figure out a balance of the detail level, and so we really wanted to emphasize on the nameplate up here, the windows, the deflector dish, and the characters with the plaque. So we decided to opt for stickers for that extra detail.
So a lot of prints, but but those are stickers in the final model as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about resource management.
That's okay.
In the end, I spent all the budget, so the money wasn't saved in some way. But
And also
a lot of effort went into the 2 new bow elements here, 1 by 5 by 8. Production was not very happy about it being 5 plates tall. They were asking, can we make it 6 plate tall? It fits our system better. But then, obviously we need a certain height here for the shape.
And then
is the 1 by 12 by 5. So that made it possible to build the oval shape at this particular size. And then we had to print these things. A lot of discussion how to make the windows, make them all. At first we had a mix of white and black. It looked too busy. I also wanted to have this ridge line in the middle, which is like a cutout, like a Death Star trench, a small one. But if you have lines like this, then production gets worried. What if it don't
Doesn't
get
line.
properly aligned or something? Can we not do the line? I really wanted the line. So you can see the compromise was make the line end slightly before the edge, or if it's slightly misaligned here, the elements, and it's not that obvious.
But then to also add to that, like this is a very rounded, complex, we call it build, and putting stickers on this area here would probably be a little bit tedious, and also the alignment. So we really wanted to like emphasize that no, we really want this to align. So that's one of the factors we have to think of when we do stickers versus print.
I'm also wondering, is this? I would perfectly well understand if not, because the balance is already nightmarish, I'm sure. But given that this is a ship which often its sort of iconic view is from the top, can you like reverse it on the stand to have it pointing down so that's more visible?
You can, but the earlier prototypes there was one that was sitting level,
Okay.
like no upwards angling. And then I was looking at it and thinking, something's missing. It looks cool, but it's not that dynamic. It could be doing more. So then I started to angle the stand, and then I thought, well, what? I mean, we test for stability, and does it sag over time? So he tested it and really didn't do any sagging. But then I thought, well, let's angle it a little bit more to have some safety margin. Maybe in 10 years, maybe if you keep it on your window in the sun, maybe it does that. But yeah, it should always be pointing like this. And I think it looks way more dynamic, pointing up.
Yeah.
Then you also get, well, at least from where you're sitting, you get this is one of the most iconic shots. I think it is our box shot. Because from this angle, it may not be the most representative of the model, but you can see everything.
And you were trying to get that iconic intro sequence.
Yes.
You know the.
Yeah.
So, I think that would be the best way to display it.
Does it feel strange, by the way, to be like a Star Wars and Star Trek designer, and probably apart from like ILM model makers, one of very few people to have worked on both?
That's true. I think you need to have a professional attitude, but I'm not both at the same time.
Yeah.
So right now, funny enough, I still have Star Wars sets on the market. The Millennium Force is still out there, and the little TIE bomber is still out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Soon we have
I
Star
think
Trek
if you're a geek, you're a geek.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of models, for this, of course, you will take a lot of reference from the show and screenshots and things, but did you also look at the remains of the models made for the show to try and replicate those as well as possible?
Sometimes you have to pick and choose, because most people don't know, but the model changed over the course of the show.
Yes.
At one point, for example, you can see it on the edge here. The rim got thicker. It also led to problems with the windows in 10 forward, because the outward view didn't align with the inward view. It was, but nobody really noticed unless you really paid super attention to that.
Especially in the pre-HD.
Yeah, but there was also the surface texture of the model also changed a little bit. But again, when they made the show, everybody was probably thinking nobody's ever going to see this, right? On the TV screens. Well, now with Blu-ray and everything in 4K, you can see everything on these models.
Yeah.
So we had to go and decide what do we want. Do we want to have a structure here, lots of windows? I think we had made one attempt. We added windows here, but that worked against the effort of making the shape, make everything blend in. Because if you have windows, they would be angled again. Then you could clearly see that you have angles pointing in a certain direction. It would be totally counterproductive.
Were there any other details that you tried to add but didn't end up working out, like those windows?
I had even more dark tan on it. At one point also some dark gray, but I didn't really see dark gray on any of the filming models. Dark tan, arguably, if you look at the pattern they have, maybe you can justify something like this, but it's just something we do to get some color in. It's a Lego set.
No, I think it has worked out incredibly well, and I do. You mentioned the Super Mario elements for the Bussard collector there, which does work perfectly, and these Speed Champions canopies for the deflector dish is very, very nice. And those are, I assume, printed on the outside as normal.
Yeah, we can
And you
take
just
it
have
out.
to-
Show them, show them.
We can take it out. Oh, here you go.
You get two of them.
So that was what I was mentioning about being something that's super difficult to. One of my most difficult designs because of how complex it was.
You might think, well, it's just a car windscreen. We
Yeah.
print them all the time, but here we print on areas where we usually don't print on a car windscreen.
Mm-hmm.
And
And let it shine
Yeah.
through. We've done this technique before, and I can think of the Big Ben with the
Oh,
big
yes, the common
clock,
base, yeah.
but never on this element. And as you can see, there's like ridges on this element. So how do I get a perfect oval on that? So there's a lot of mathematics. And then essentially I'm trying to design a particle effect on a Lego element. So there were quite a few iterations and tests and back and forth with Hans and how do we make it put it in the model. So I'm quite happy how it came out, and I think that with the lines it gives it that like that action packedness.
It looks really, really good.
dock the dish. Right to safety. It did 180 degree and smacked flat on the table.
Watch it, sir. Whoa, 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 whoa. Here we go.
Oh, yes. Well, it gets damaged enough in the show. It's just moves.
So what do you think? Did that interview answer some of your questions? Well, if it didn't, I'll try to hopefully fill in the gaps with my full review, which should be out very soon, if not already here on the channel. Huge thank you to Lee for going out to Denmark to film that interview, and there'll be more Fan Media Days content coming to the channel over the next few months. With that said, I'll see you guys in the review. Hope you guys have a great, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.